Hi everyone, welcome to Flight Software Workshop 2021. The topic of our discussion is distributed flight software. My name is Vishav and I'm a scientific researcher at Institute for Software Technology at German Aerospace Center. I work for the group Onboard Software Systems, and the group is responsible for research and development activities in onboard embedded software. Yeah, that's a short introduction about me and the group. And with this, let's start our talk. Modern space applications. The advances in sensor and computer technology are revolutionizing the space applications. We have advanced sensors now, for example, advanced radars that can detect an object from very far distances. We have high resolution cameras. We have spectrometers that can detect wind speeds, and concepts like hyperspectral imaging that analyzes the spectrum of each pixel in an image to identify materials or processes. For example, the figure here shows an onboard space application that is used for real-time weather monitoring and disasters notification. But as the law of nature, nothing comes for free. These sensors are producing enormous data, which is just not simple, but multidimensional. And this data must be handled. So how can we really handle this data? Some might argue that we can store this data on board. However, large onboard memory has always been a challenge, and these memory resources must be used as efficiently as possible. Others might argue that we can send this data to ground station. However, as per ESA evaluation, data rates and data volumes produced by payloads have continued to increase, but the available downlink bandwidth to ground station has remained comparatively stable. Also, for the applications like real-time weather monitoring, as shown here, we would like to avoid up-down delays, or else it would affect the real-time capabilities for such applications. Others might argue that we save only high-value data. That means decreasing the data rate for acquiring, but that is like underutilizing sensor technology, as we are getting the data at the lower rates than the sensors. And this might lead to losing some important information. So the question is how this data is handled in space missions. In order to decrease the delays, the interpretation or processing of this data is generally done in two ways. The first way is onboard compression of the acquired data. In this way, the acquired data can be compressed on board either in the lossless or lossy way. Then this compressed data is downloaded and processed at the ground level. The other way is to process this data on board as per application requirements. For instance, applications like real-time weather monitoring, onboard navigation, autonomous space exploration, autonomous artificial intelligence are some of the applications that needs onboard processing to meet their goals. However, to meet any of the mentioned goals, we need high computational capability in onboard computers. But is that a simple task? Let's see further. In the past, there has been always challenges with onboard data processing. And the reasons are as follows. For any space mission, it is important to have a hardware that is resistant to ionizing radiations. The space qualified hardware like RAD750 are capable of providing the resistance against radiations. Hence, they are called radiation hardened devices. However, on the downside, they have limited power as compared to commercial on-the-shelf processors. This shortcoming can be overcome by using multiple processors and distributing the computations among them. One may agree with the proposal, but is it applicable to every use case? Let's have a closer look. To answer if the computations can be achieved with multiple processors, it is worth to discuss briefly about two mechanisms in which program flow can be designed, namely control flow and data flow. Control flow is based on the conventional von Neumann computers that has a fixed sequence of execution of instruction. This order is explicitly stated in the user program or application. An example is shown here. We see after the start, the start, the program follows a fixed flow until the end of execution is reached. This type of flow is generally present in uniprocessor computers. Although control flow mechanisms provide complete control, but due to their sequential nature, they have less potential for parallelism. On the other hand, we have data flow architecture, which is based on data-driven mechanisms. That means an instruction can be executed as soon as the data or operands are available. We can see this in example here that the instructions 1, 2, and 3 are executed independent of each other. The same applies to instructions 4 and 5. Data flow mechanisms therefore have high potential for parallelism as sections of program can execute independently as per operands availability. As said before, instructions 1, 2, and 3 can be executed parallelly and in different processors. In space systems, several onboard applications are programmed using data flow mechanism. The parallelism in these applications can be utilized to enhance computational capability of the system. Computational tasks can be distributed among multiple processors and hence improve the overall performance of the system. In the past, various onboard applications have been developed as per data flow architecture. One such example is the project Athon. As we see, the application has quite a data-driven paradigm. Two cameras capture the images at regular time intervals, and together with inertial measurement unit sensor, the images are processed by navigation filter to estimate the output position. This information is then logged and sent to the flight controller. Parallelism can be realized effectively on such flow. For example, camera 1 and camera 2 processors can be executed independently. The same can be applied to flight controller and logging operations. Another example is from the project BIRD AOCS. We see here that there are 4 sensors that pass the data into buffers, which acts as input to the computational blocks. Similar to last example, it also follows the data-driven paradigm and has a high potential for parallelism. For example, the functional blocks FA, FB, and E can be executed independently. Taking the motivation from such applications, a data flow-oriented middleware has been designed at German Aerospace Center. The middleware can be defined as data-driven, multi-threaded, C++ development library, and execution platform. The middleware is named as Tasking Framework and is available as open source on GitHub. Sorry. Some of the features of Tasking Framework are to make an embedded system with static memory requirements, to develop a known embedded system like a prototype. The middleware is compatible with POSIX-like operating system like Linux and Artemis, and it's a C++ middleware. However, it should be noted that Tasking Framework is not an operating system, and also it cannot be considered as a testing platform. To understand how the Tasking Framework functions, Let us consider the BERT application that we considered before. With tasking framework, an application can be implemented as a graph of tasks. We have channels that are buffers which are used to store data and activate the inputs. Tasks execute the functional blocks and are stateless. A task can be triggered when one or more inputs are activated. Finally, we have event, which is responsible for periodic action. For example, to trigger the task E, all the 4 inputs connected to it must be activated. Now that we know how tasking framework functions, let us see how we can extend it to distributed systems. For the simplicity, the example discussed before has been converted to a task map. Considering that we have a distributed system with 3 processors, the task map can be realized as follows. We can say that task 1, 2, and 3 are independent of each other as the result of one task does not influence the result of another task. Hence, they can be implemented on individual processors to accelerate the processing. Assuming that the task 1 does not need much execution time, it can also execute task 4 as soon as the result of task 2 is available. As we can see, that just with the use of 3 internode connections, as shown in red, the application can be executed together on 3 computing units. Similar to BERT project, Arthon project can also be implemented with distributed systems. For simplicity reasons, the task map for Arthon is shown here. Since task 1 and task 2 are independent of each other, they can be executed on different processors. Task 3 is navigation filter that needs high computation, and hence node C is only responsible for this task. The result of task 3 is input to node A and node B to trigger task 4 and task 5. With distributed tasking, complex application with tens or hundreds of tasks can be executed on multiple processors with few internode links, enhancing the overall performance of the system. Such distributed paradigm is already used in an ongoing project SCOSA at German Aerospace Center. The aim of the project is to achieve high computation demands in space systems. The system is heterogeneous, consisting of reliable nodes that serve mission-critical operations and high-performance nodes for higher computational tasks, such as image processing. The nodes are connected via space-wire links. The system offers a distributed architecture with reconfiguration, meaning on a failure of a computing unit, the task can be remapped to remaining nodes. The distributed tasking helps making the system scalable, meaning it can be expanded and shrink as per the use case. For the illustration of SCOSA with distributed tasking, let's take the onboard application that we discussed in slide 2. The onboard process is broken down into 3 tasks. Each task is then distributed on different processors to achieve desired computations. The processors here are connected via space wire links. This kind of strategy can also be applied for other onboard applications. One important aim of SCOSA is to run multiple onboard applications in a space mission. This helps to make mission more efficient as multiple experiments can be carried out on the same hardware system. As per the resources availability, the applications can be scheduled accordingly. With the help of distributed tasking, SCOSA is able to realize such a requirement. Let's have a closer look at the setup. The onboard applications are based on data-driven architecture of tasking framework and registers all the tasks and channels to be run on the hardware. Additionally, task and channel info is also forwarded to system modeling module that models all the tasks and channels. This is done by analyzing the resource required by each task and mapping it to a processor with available resource. These mappings are named as configuration and are then sent to middleware. Based on the task map and configurations, the middleware generates executables which are distributed to different processors. Each individual processor then executes only the task assigned to it and transfer data among other processors via spacewire links. The middleware constantly monitors the system for any irregularities or errors by retrieving the status from the processors. The middleware sends the important process data to ground station. The system is completely autonomous. That means the system is able to detect failures in processors or change in mission phase. In such situations, the system reconfigures itself and moves to a different set of task maps that suffice the newer conditions. For any system or software updates, SCOSA receives the message from the ground station as shown here. In this talk, we saw that the advances in sensor technology are producing enormous data. Due to reasons like low onboard memory and limited downlink bandwidth, this data must be handled appropriately. There are several ways to handle this data, such as compression or onboard processing, but all of them demands high computations. A single radiation-hardened hardware might not be enough to suffice such high computational requirement. And this brings the need for multiple processors. We saw that together with the data flow mechanism and distributed system, these high computation requirements can be met, as parallelism can be well realized with multiple processors. Then we saw a data-driven middleware tasking framework that helps to break down these applications into task maps, which can then be extended to distributed systems. Finally, we show an already implemented system that uses distributed tasking to achieve high computational demands in space applications. Do you have any questions? We would be glad to answer them. You can check our website for more details. For questions related to distributed tasking and SCOSA flight experiment, you can reach me. I'm available by email, phone, and post. Or you can contact other contributors as well for this presentation. I hope you enjoyed this talk, and we hope to see each other next year soon. Until then, I wish you a great year, and bye-bye.